Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Your dials up in the drop top. They ain't mixing debate, but they keep it back straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do it first take on Facebook Live from Show the 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Reyes, Skip Bayless, and Stephen Smith. Come on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal to the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face till you're at your wheel. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket, put you in the casket, but I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm knocking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they're cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from Color 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Chop Shop, the #1 urban sports talk show in the country. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks and Chris Walker. I think Chris Walker is there already, coming to you live in Houston. Jimmy is in Houston, but Chris is on an undisclosed location. I'm just, just having a great day in sports. What's up with this Baby Friday, as Jimmy so affectionately called it, Baby Friday? And you know what? It's a lot of stuff. Chris Walker was on the phone with me for a long time last night, y'all. And, we was just talking, going back and forth and just talking about certain things, the NCAA, the plight of the colleges and the black colleges, the white colleges, the predominantly white colleges. It's a lot of stuff going on out here right now that we're going to talk about today. They sent me 2 topics that I think we're going to share today. Chris Walker was talking about the hypocrisy in college basketball. And y'all got to remember now, this is the same guy that was part of that same hypocrisy.
Whoa.
Because he was a college football coach. So
Basketball.
I would be basketball coach. I would be very interested in hearing his take on the hypocrisy of college basketball. And he's been a college basketball coach for over 20 years. But Jimmy, I know we got a lot of stuff. It's Baby Friday. What you got going on before I get cranked up? Let me let you go. Because you get a little. Go and do your thing right quick. What you got? Can you hear me?
Let's dive right in. Yeah. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Let's dive right into it, and it's with the college situation right now. Let's get people watching. They're waiting. It's Baby Friday. Let's get what's going on, y'all. Make sure you share the show with your families and friends. Post it on your timeline, because you guys already know Baby Friday, it goes down on the Chop Shop. We're going to inform you. We're going to educate you. We're going to slightly entertain you a little bit. I know a lot of you guys are feeling some kind of way, and the Chop Shop can be used as an escape mechanism from a lot of the stuff that is going on and during our congressional hearings and whatnot. So let's talk some sports for a couple of hours and get your mind off that other stuff that's going on, that foolishness, well, supreme foolishness especially from one side. And right there, we got Chris Walker. C. Walker's doing the audio. He's joining us audio, right?
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't hear him.
Okay. Well, anyway, so
Chris, are you there?
I'm here. Okay. Hold on.
Chris had to log out and
Got a
beam
bad
back in.
connection somewhere.
That's all. So now, of course, in basketball, of course, in NCAA news, Georgia Tech has been placed on, I think, a year's probation. The NCAA release. Think about all the stuff that's going on, right? All of the coaches they have on wiretaps, and they decide the timing of this, the timing to go and, they've already been investigating Georgia Tech. Remember that. If you guys were out of the loop, then basically what happened back then was there was a guy that met the head coach at Georgia Tech, Josh Pastner, back while he was at Arizona. When Josh went to Memphis, went to Georgia Tech, this guy went and on college visits. That goes Chris right there on college visits. It's normal. That's the thing that it gets me. It's normal. It's part of the play. The kid, somebody's called the host. The host is going to be one of the students, athletes on the team. They're going to be responsible. That's the point guard of the recruitment during the night, during the after hours. That guy's going to take that kid, and I'll let Chris Walker explain what a host does and how is a host determined. But in this situation, the host went, and every host, understand, somebody's going to go and give that host a little piece of change, and he's going to make sure that recruit has a good time. Now, mind you, in this situation, the assistant coach allegedly gave, according to the documents, gave the host and the young man, the recruit, $300 apiece for them to have a good time. That goes a long way in one of those college-type clubs. Don't get it twisted. Well, upon the investigation, the assistant coach refused to cooperate with the NCAA. Then he went so far as to refuse to go and attempt to sway the recruit and his family from telling the truth with the NCAA. Right? So then we fast forward on to now. This is the result of the investigation, and I can read this. The adult entertainment, the NCAA saying this, has no place in the recruiting process. Mind you, what comes to mind is Louisville, and Walk, we get into that after a while. Louisville, right? Remember when the guy had the strippers and the knot that wasn't even good on the eyes, and these girls got the money. Well, that's commonplace. However, that doesn't make it legal. That doesn't make it in compliance with the rules. See, that's the thing. A lot of things that goes on in basketball in the underbelly of recruiting have been going on for so long that people say in their minds, they're doing it. They're doing it. And yes, the NCAA knows it goes on. But Chris, your thoughts on this Georgia Tech situation right now. And first of all, let us know about what's a host and how is a host determined in recruiting.
First of all, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So, obviously it's always a tough situation being a coach, having to comment, particularly on coaches that you know personally, as I know Josh Pastner, but just strictly talking about the situation. And Jared Jack, if I'm not mistaken, was not on the team. I think Jared Jack was already gone, if I'm not mistaken. So he was basically the Kevin Ollie rule, where Kevin Ollie was talking to Ray Allen saying, talk to a recruit about coming to the university. And in the Georgia Tech situation, LeBerry was guilty of bringing Jared Jack along Wendell Carter was a big time recruit. So you bring out the big guns when that happened. And Jared Jack played there. I want to say he's from Atlanta. So that was a big time deal. Here's the other piece. The other piece is in Atlanta, again, not condoning it. Strip club culture in Atlanta is different than any other place in the United States, dare I say. And Hatter knows where I'm coming from when I say that. It's a whole different world when you go to Atlanta when you're talking about a gentleman's club. Am I right, Hatter, or wrong?
Yeah, it's a different culture. You're right.
It's a different culture. It's like going to Whole Foods. Like it's like
Yes.
like people do not trip on that. Like it's not like it is here. Is it a place for a young man to go? No, I remember when coaches back in the day, that was a meeting spot for coaches until cell phones came out. And when cell phones came out, that became a place that guys did not go anymore with AAU coaches. And every college coach, if he was being honest, knows what I'm talking about. I don't condone taking players there, but again, back in the day, that was the thing to do. Now, is it something that should be allowed or should be, commonplace now? I wouldn't even hesitate to say no, that's something that shouldn't be done, especially taking a recruit there. I'm talking about that was a place that coaches, when you wanted to come in town, it wasn't Papa Do's, Jimmy, back in the day. It was I forget the name of the place on Westheimer that people used to go to all the time. You know the name of the place. Oh my God, what's the name of the place? Right there on Westheimer. But anyway, it'll come to us in a minute. But that's where people used to go all the time. I remember that.
Yeah.
So now it's Papa Do's. Treasures, exactly. Now it's Papa Do's. So my point being is that we all, we start looking at our own house. We know what time it is. Here's my issue with the thing. Let me back up a second. Let's talk about a recruit. A player is given X number of dollars, per day to entertain. That's to pay for, meals. Let's say they already taken them to dinners and stuff. So let's say a kid wants a Snicker or he wants something to drink or they're out, doing whatever. You get host money to pay for that and probably pay for yourself too. Okay. And that money has changed over years. I want to say it may be $40 a day. I can't remember, but that's given to the host. Obviously 300 is over that limit. Probably should be 300 based on what they're trying to get done, but it's maybe 40, $50. But the point, the reason why I think this subject is important is because he got 3 years show cause, right? 3 years show cause. The school was put on probation for a year. And again, it's hard. It's not hard for me. It's just pointing out the situation. Nothing happened to the head coach. Nothing happened. He's trying to, if anyone in the Boomer Room believes that the head coaches don't know what's going on, they're out of their mind. They're out of their mind. If they don't know, if they think that coaches don't have their hand on every piece of that program. They know what's going on. Whether they choose to ignore it, whether they say just get it done, that's a whole nother thing. They know what's going on. And LeBerry refused to cooperate with the NCAA. We just had a situation yesterday where we talked about Mark Gottfried. He don't want his cell phone records out there. Right, you had it?
That's right.
The NCAA, we just had a situation where the NCAA didn't require Sean Miller or Will Wade to testify because they didn't want to testify. How's that not obstruction? And they're still coaching. But Darryl LeBerry has a 3-year show code. Come on, man. We got to start pulling the wool over some of this stuff. Again, I'm not even jumping on Bill Self, but we got records and transcripts of people paying people. And coaches are still coaching, but Darryl LeBerry, Book Richardson, if I say they ain't doing anything wrong, they're doing, it's business as usual. Steve Smith, thank God, Leonard Hamilton saved him, Jimmy. There's no one else would, just for commenting, Hatter, on what Clemson football does, not for doing anything. My boy, Yasir Roseman, on a plane to getting a job, about to get a job at a school I won't name. And when that information came out about him having a conversation, they couldn't hire him. Not that they didn't hire him. Not that he did anything. They would not hire him because of the optics. And here we are, again, optics, not excusing Darryl LeBerry, but come on, man. Like if it smells like a rat, looks like a rat, it's probably a what? A rat. That's my problem with it.
Adam, what's your thought What's your thought on that, Al?
Well, I'm gonna look at because Carrie Holmes, because I don't want her the comment to move. She said, "Why so many head coaches are untouchable?" Please explain, Chris.
I said it yesterday for people that did not watch the show. The NCAA is an enforcement agency.
Okay.
When everybody blames the NCAA, they are incorrect in doing that. What they should be blaming, who they should be blaming, are the administrators at the universities, the head coaches, the presidents, the athletic directors, and the faculty athletic reps who represent the athletic departments. They're the ones who are making the rules. They're the ones who are voting. The NCAA enforces. Right, Hatter? If you want to go after the police department, you can't go to the police department. Where do you have to go, Hatter? To the who? To the mayor's office. So people get mad at the police department. They don't realize the mayor controls the police department.
That's right.
If you want mad at the police chief, go to the mayor. He got to go to, because the police chief got to answer to the mayor. They're blaming the NCAA when they need to be blaming the universities and the presidents. So why would, again, I'm just throwing this out there, not that he's doing it. Why would Mike Krzyzewski make a rule against himself? Why do you think some of the rules change? For instance, why a kid who's a young AAU coach who says, I want to be a college coach one day, but I don't want to be a high school coach. But I want to coach AAU. So Jimmy, what was the rule? Because so many young African Americans were getting jobs, Jimmy, what was the rule that they put in place to stop guys from hiring those guys, Jimmy? Tell them. Yeah. The rule they put in place was what? 2 years what?
2 year rule.
2 year removed. So it forced the coach to say, well, if I hire this guy, I got to make him one of my 3 assistant coaches. That's jacked up. So now, guess what? Young brothers.
Chris, hold on, Chris. Could you explain the 2 year rule to some people on the Facebook feed that might not understand it thoroughly? What you mean? In other words, if I'm an AAU coach, okay? If I'm an AAU coach,
correct.
It would be 2 years before, if I give you a player, right? If you hire me, I have to wait 2 years before I.
No. You have to be 2 years removed from the kid, any kid on the team they're recruiting. 2 years removed. Or yes, you have to be 2 years removed. And on top of that, you have to be one of the 3 paid assistants. So think about if you're the University of Oklahoma. I'm just throwing it out there, not that Oklahoma's in this situation. And you want to hire somebody, let's say what's happening at Oklahoma State right now. Let's just call it out. I don't care if anybody get mad. We got to give them real examples, right, Jimmy? So they hire who, Jimmy? Who did Oklahoma hire, Jimmy?
Well, Cade Cunningham, brother.
Cade Cunningham's dad. Shannon.
Who's and I don't know him, who's never coached, right? At that level.
Well, not at that level.
Exactly. So he's never been a coach at that level. So we all know the reason why he's hiring him, because he wants his brother. Let's keep it out there. You know, I love Mike, but Mike, no, let's keep it 100. Technically, think about it. There are probably a million people more qualified. Even if they're a brother that look like Cade Cunningham's brother that could have that position. But because of the rule, because he's associated with Cade, he's an NBA associated with a prospect. He's also one of the AAU coaches. He has to be an assistant. He can't hire him at a spot that he probably should start at, like a film guy. He could be a guy that's in charge of analytics. He could be a director of basketball operations. He could be an assistant to the head coach. He could be anything. But guess what? He cannot do it because that rule says, all right, man, if you want to hire that guy that has no experience, go ahead on. But you got to make him one of your coaches. So now it makes the head coach think like, oh, man, you got to be kidding me. So that rule was put in place to stop that from happening. Well, if we keep it 100, what race of guys or ethnicity coaches a lot of these top players, Jimmy?
Who's what?
What race, what ethnicity coaches most of the top players?
Black players.
Yeah. There you go. So that rule was how would the NCAA make that rule? You know who make that rule? Top coaches. We watched the 150 years of college football. Top coaches put that rule in place because now, guess what? Those dudes are controlling where these kids go to school because they're getting employed by certain people. You see what I'm saying? So the blue bloods are like, y'all not gonna do that. we're going to put a rule in place, schools that are not blue bloods, that if you hire those guys, you got to make them one of your coaches now. NCAA didn't put that in place. Those are schools voting on that. I mean, that's people got to understand what's going on. They got to look under the hood.
So why? Okay, so why would a school vote against a rule that will help the school? Certain schools, I guess.
You're not getting it. And when the blue bloods stop getting them, when the top guys that are always getting the top kids don't get them, because you got to realize in the college football, when they had unlimited scholarships back in the day, Texas, Oklahoma, University of Miami, Florida State, all those schools dominated because guess what they would do, Hatter? They would gobble up all the players. So even if they know they couldn't play, South Florida couldn't become good. Central Florida couldn't become good because they were all at those schools. When they put a scholarship limit out there, guess what happened? Some of those kids started going to Central Florida and South Florida. So it created more competition. So who do you think that benefited? That benefited the Florida States when it was unlimited. You understand where I'm coming from? Just like we watched that documentary when it said that only certain people could do what? Come on national TV. The minute the NCAA lost that antitrust thing, now everybody can come on national TV. Those people lost what, Jimmy? A recruiting advantage. Okay. So think about what just happened. When they said that when there was no rule about you hiring AAU coaches or high school coaches for that matter, there was a recruiting advantage for people that develop what, Hatter? Relationships with these guys. They got a recruiting advantage. So guess what? If I don't want to use race as a thing, but if I'm an old whatever guy and I don't want to deal with these quote unquote third parties or whatever dudes, let me put a rule in place where guess what? You want to hire that guy? You got to make him one of your coaches. So you can do that if you want to do it. So they put a rule in place that say you got to be 2 years removed. Think about that, man. You're a young 22-year-old kid. You want to get in college coaching, and just because you coach whatever team, you can't get a job at a certain place because they have to hire you at a certain level to get that job. Come on, man. That is the worst rule ever put in the NCAA books, and it needs to come off the books, period. Terrible rule, and I can't believe that a lot of people aren't up in arms about that rule.
Well, one thing about it that we see the common denominator with a lot of these cases is money. And the thing about it, what makes it kind of sad is, think about it, these guys, Georgia Tech, here's the punishment. Over $600, $300 for two people. $600, here's what they got. 4 years probation, a 2019, this season, a postseason ban. That means they can't play in any postseason tournaments, right? A $5,000 fine, which is not much, but plus 2% of the basketball's budget. Now that's going to supersede. Well, not really. Well, maybe.
Not really. I mean, not really. I mean,
a reduction.
It's a fine.
They get a reduction of one full scholarship during each year of probation. And the way that it goes in scholarships, they get to extend no more than 3 in a season, but no more than 5 in any 2 combined seasons. Consecutive seasons, that is. Once again, no more than 3 in one season, but no more than 5 in any 2 seasons.
And let me tell you why that's not like a big deal. Because in basketball, unlike football, Jimmy, 7 dudes play. You get 13 scholarships, and you get maybe play 8, and then you go get 5 walk-ons. Sometimes having 13 like that, like people can think that's a big deal, and it hurt SMU to a degree, but when they were going through it, but only about at Duke, 6 dudes play. 6 dudes. Some guys don't even fill all their scholarships, Jimmy, like Kentucky, because they don't want to deal with what? The headache of all those AAU coaches and all them families. So they don't even fill their roster up, Hatter. They just like, look, man, let's get us 7 goons. And let's get us just a couple more practice dudes in case somebody get hurt, and put a bunch of walk-ons that know they never playing, so we don't have to deal with playing time issue from them 7 goons. So that stuff sounds like a lot when you read it from layman term and from a layman's view, but at the end of the day, come on, man, it ain't what you think, man.
Well, you being the college coach, And what I want to do is I want to read the rest of the sanctions that's been placed on Georgia Tech men's basketball. Now I want to go one by one, and you quickly give me what that would mean, or what would be the way, if you was the college coach, how you would maneuver around that. In other words, for example, they will have an 8-week ban on unofficial visits.
Come on,
That's
man.
2 months. So what does that mean to you?
You can. It depends on, again, if they're recruiting locally, an 8-year ban on unofficial or official.
Unofficial.
And that basically means that kids can just come up. Obviously, freshmen can't come up. They can come up on their own dime. So it depends on when that 8 weeks is. Is that during Christmas when no one comes up, or is it during high school season when kids can't come? Anyway, they usually don't come to unofficials. Maybe they can't come to games. If they recruit out of the state, they've never come into unofficials. It's usually kids that are driving up. When I was at Villanova, you in Philadelphia, everybody drives to the campus. Well, if you're in Georgia Tech and you recruit nationally, people can't drive to the campus. So it sounds like a big deal, but it just depends. And how about this? They may let Georgia Tech choose when the 8 weeks are, Jimmy. How about that?
That's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm laughing, because it doesn't say. So if it doesn't say, then it's very well possible they get to choose. And if they get to choose, then you can apply those 8 weeks during the dead period.
Exactly, when you're out recruiting.
So it sounds spooky, to the common eye. But understand, I go to the next. I go to the next. A 3-visit reduction from the permissible number of official visits. The 3-visit reduction. First of all, how many official visits do you guys, the Division I coaches, get to at the host during per year?
I want to say, again, my rules it's so many freaking rules. I want to say 15. I want to say you get 15.
I thought it was
right,
15.
and so the thing
12.
is though, right, but here's the deal though, guys. You gotta understand something. When you're recruiting, and you're recruiting these guys since they're freshmen, sometimes 8th grade, you already know when they come on an official visit, it's a formality. You already got them. Sometimes I recruited. We never even had an official visit. We just did it during the season just so they could come see a game. They've been to the campus so many times. You've talked to them so many times. You already know you're getting them. Again, it sounds like a major deal, but very often, most schools do not use their entire allotment of official visits. Hey, it's a big deal if you don't have them, right? Because it's one of those things where you always know if you need them, they're there, right? But at the end of the day, more really good programs, they never use all their visits.
Okay, the next one.
And let me make this last point. The only reason why that's another big deal, Hatter, is because now juniors can go on visits. That's where it could hurt them, because the younger kids can come on the campus. That's the part that may sting them a little bit, not for the guys they're trying to sign.
How about this? An 8-week recruiting ban. 8-week ban on recruiting communication.
Oh, well, yeah. Hey, man, that might be a blessing, because sometimes that's too much for communication. How about that? That might be a blessing. And as Jimmy said, it depends on when you choose the 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You can do it 1 week a month where you can't recruit. 1 week a month. So and what is recruiting ban? Is that mail? Like describe, what's the ban? Does it describe what the ban is, Jimmy?
It doesn't.
Is it text communication? Is it email? Is it?
Yeah. I guess all that would probably go up under recruiting communication. How about this one? How about a reduction of 19 recruiting person days from the permissible number? Now, this is important because first, we would need you, Chris, to explain to the viewers and listeners how does this work? What is a recruitable day?
So when basically when you go out on the road, a man day, it's a man person day, it counts as a day. So if 2 coaches go out, it counts as 2 days. So you get 130 days, Hatter. Once school starts, you get 130 days to go out and recruit. So that basically means they have 111 days. That's what it means, 111 days. And again, guys, if you recruit locally in Atlanta, if you're Georgia, you could drive to schools. Kids, like, you get an allotment of stuff to say, like, hey man, don't go over this. This is more than enough. You can get your job done in 111 days with 12 official visits. You can get it done. They're just saying that you can't do as much as everyone else. But they're not saying that you get 60 days instead of 130 days. If they really want to kill them, say they get 70 days. Say they get 60 days. Now you're putting some pressure on them. Instead of them getting 12 visits, tell them they get 6 visits. Now you're putting some pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing right now is just slapping them on the wrist.
Now, how about this? You said it earlier, you touched on it earlier, the 3-year show cause for the former assistant coach who was at Georgia Tech. What is a show call?
You know what that means, Hatter? Means you can't work. That's what it means. It means like if you want to get a job, you have to go to the NCAA, you have to appeal to the NCAA, or the people that are trying to hire you have to go to the NCAA, right, to say why we should hire you. Because after the show cause is over, you don't have to do it anymore. There are certain guys that we're friends with, and I don't even want to put his name out there because he may get mad, that we all know very well and fondly of. There was a head coach that, through no fault of his own, had a show cause, and he could not work, right? And it's still impacting him to this day. Let's say, Hatter, you went to jail and got a case. Let's say like the guys that went to jail for marijuana possession when Reagan was made those ridiculous Reagan, when they made the drug laws. And they went to jail, and now those drug laws are now off the books because you can have, marijuana has been decriminalized now. But you got a Fed case on your deal, right? I mean, I'm mixing the words up right now, but that's on your ledger, on your record.
Right.
You still can't go get a job because you got a felony. It doesn't matter if it's been decriminalized. It doesn't matter if it wouldn't have been the law then. You still can't get a job because they're gonna say if you got a felony, you have to, designate that. And the minute they see that, what do? Hire? They don't hire you. So when you get a show cause, it's like a kiss of death in coaching. Now, some people have been able to come back from that, right? But again, you have the school that wants to hire you has to appeal to the NCAA, and there is no chance you get the job as long, like Darryl LeBaron for those 3 years, he will not get a job in 3 years. He will not. I want to say Bruce Pearl, Jimmy, had a show cause. And then Auburn, from the Tennessee deal, he did television.
Tony did as well.
Tony who?
His assistant coach at the
Yes, he had a show cause. I mean, there's a couple other guys. Tony, TSU, he had a show cause.
Tony Harvey.
T. Harvey had a show cause. And he'll tell you, and I love to have him on this show, tell his story through he may not want to tell it, but through no fault of his own, trying to be a good dude, got jammed up. But again, got a show cause, and people won't touch you. It's like you got the plague, period.
And this is unbelievable. I'm just tuning in with Chris Walker. He's breaking down and interpreting and some of the rules and terminology that the NCAA uses in the recruiting. And recently, this morning, Georgia Tech was handed down a list of sanctions from their men's basketball against their men's basketball program. And the last two, Chris, is they're going to vacate the records of which the students,
which they won nothing, so it don't matter. They didn't win anything, so keep going.
Yeah, and they're going to prohibit the school from scheduling official visits in conjunction with home games.
Like tell me what they're like that stuff makes Hatter. If you really now think about what they're doing, Hatter. If I'm Josh Pastner, I'm thinking the nails in my coffin. That's number one. Because Jimmy, what you left out was that association with that dude that filed that case against him.
Yeah,
you left that out.
And the case went in Josh Pastner's favor because
it did.
Yes,
but there was still some association with the guy, whether it went in Josh Pastner's favor or not. So what I'm saying is, who's being protected here? We know what's being levied against the guy who's trying to get it done. And Hatter, here's my issue. And some of you black assistant coaches that are watching this, I don't care if you're some white head coaches or white assistant coaches. It comes down to a matter of race. Like, who is the guy, Hatter, in the hood trying to get the players? So there's a reason why only black coaches were indicted during the Chris Dawkins and Merle Code case, because they're the ones that are connected to the talent, right? So they're the ones getting it. So Darryl LaBerry, guess what? Jared Jack is hanging out with Darryl LaBerry. He's not hanging out with the other guys on the staff, Jimmy. Right? At the strip club where Migos and Drake and all those guys are. He trying to get Wendell Carter not to go to Duke. Come on, guys. We got to keep it 100. So my thing is, why? Why is the only person being punished? And Darryl LaBerry, guess what he is, Hannah? Guess what I'm about to tell you? That's even crazier. Like Kevin Ollie, guess what the parallel is? He's a Georgia Tech alum. How about that? He got to stay away from the program. He can't come on campus. I made this comment, a parallel the other day about Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush got his Heisman taken. Reggie Bush was much maligned. Pete Carroll, a couple years later, was brought back and honored. Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Do you hear what I just said?
The coach who was supposed to have control over that.
Over all that was honored. And then went to the NFL and became the coach of the Seahawks. And Reggie Bush took the entire hit for what USC was doing. But they give back any of their money they made off those number 5 jerseys?
Not zero. Come
on, man. Like, we're not having an honest conversation. I would encourage everybody to do this, and I'd love to have a comment on it. And I think and I don't know where else we're going with the show. I watched 150 years of college basketball. You can tell them where to find it. And I'm telling you right now, and Hatter brought up the book the other day about FAMU and Jack Gaither. He's also talked about in this documentary. I would encourage on Baby Friday, before Monday comes, everybody watch that documentary and we have a conversation about college football on Monday morning on the Chop Shop. That's what I would encourage. And I won't go into it anymore because you're going to sit there and be like, what the hell? And when I say free labor, when I say they should get paid, when I say that we've been hoodwinked, when Hatter says that HBUs were the law of the land and how we sold out Yankee Stadium for the Morgan State Grambling game, right? Yeah. 65,000. When we say that, people will never go to those schools, or when we say, we'll never get on television, you'll understand what has happened over time. And you can only understand the future if you understand the past. You can only see the future if you understand why this is happening. And then guess what you're going to do? Look at your own life and be like, hold on, they doing this to my job. Oh, I see why some of these guys are so angry. I see why they're mad about how they're being handled. I see why some of these kids only choose white agents. It's the way we've been conditioned. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Now, of course, how to go. Now, I want to ask you one more thing.
I'm saying too much.
Okay.
I'm going to get fired. Hey, Jimmy, they're going to let me get a job again one day? I'm just saying.
No, you're educating, you're informing, and that's a great thing. And because you're breaking this stuff down so that people can understand. A lot of times people read it, they hear the term, but they really don't know what the terms mean and entail. And this is the last one. Disassociation, right? They have a 3-year disassociation from the former assistant coach.
Yep.
Right? A 3-year disassociation from the former student athlete who was the host.
Jared Jack. They say Jared Jack, but I don't think it's Jared Jack though, right?
Right. A disassociation from the former friend of the head coach who has been determined and deemed to be a booster.
That's Jared Jack.
Right?
Yeah, that's Jared Jack.
You sure?
Yeah, Jared Jack, because Jared Jack played for Paul Hewitt. So he didn't play for
he played for Hewitt.
He played for Hewitt. So he was, again, that's common. If people don't know this.
Disassociation. What does that mean? That means he
can't come to a game. He probably can't come to a game. Think about it. When Michigan disassociated themselves from Chris Webber, I don't think Chris Webber was allowed to come to games. I don't think I don't know this for a fact, Hatter, maybe you know. I think Jalen Rose, I know he didn't, but I don't think he was allowed, the university was allowed to have contact with him. People got to understand, man, and I'm not even I'm just talking about what's commonplace. And only if your kid was a high-level dude that you're even going to understand what I'm saying. If you're at the University of North Carolina and you're recruiting at Duke, You don't know what Duke is doing. But if I'm North Carolina and I think that Duke is going to have Christian Laettner talk to a kid, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to call that GOAT. I'm going to call Mike and say, Mike, I need you to get this done for me. Right? That's common practice. Just like when Hatter slipped and tell y'all, no matter how much information that he gives these kids before they make a decision, how much money he say he makes people and save people, and people don't have to work for the rest of their life. You know what these people still do? They go for the money. Because the other guy knows he don't have that on his side. So what can he do to counteract Hatter's expertise? Pay him. So what? Because they don't know what. Because if Hatter was going to pay him too and have that expertise, he would never lose a player. Right or wrong, Hatter? You would never lose.
I just don't want to be on ESPN though.
Exactly.
But what we got to understand, Chris, I'm sitting here looking at it. In America, we are culturally conditioned to believe that white is superior, black is inferior, and the manifestation of that cultural conditioning is that black people are undervalued, underestimated, and marginalized. And it's not a racist statement. It's just a fact of life. Your ice is colder than your ice, Chris. So, I mean, it's just, we can sit here and like I was telling you this morning, I said, we won't even control our controllables. That's one of you coach, that's some coach speak. Jimmy, we won't even control the things that we control. We don't control no universities because we're not chancellors. A lot of us are not chancellors and presidents. We can't control that. But the thing we should be able to control are our black athletes. And guess what? We're not controlling the things that we can control. I was at John Lucas' event this weekend. 90% of the people in there were black. But if one of those guys make it somewhere and go pro or somewhere, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be represented by somebody probably white. And I gave you the analogy of Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka, you know, by any accounts, whatever kind of guy he is, he's cool. But Jimmy, you tell me, if he didn't represent Kobe, James Harden, there's no way he'd be the general manager or the president of one of the most storied franchise in NBA history. No way. So guess what? He used the backs of two brothers to put himself in this position. Yeah, he had to do the work, but to put himself in that position. And now, Jimmy, generations down the road, his son, his grandkids, they are going to be set for life because of what Rob Pelinka did and what James Harden, Kobe Bryant, Buddy Hield, the likes of those type of guys that put him in a position of power. Those, Jimmy, are the things we can control. Those are not, see, we keep worried about what we can't control. We can't control what the NCAA and Mark Emmert does. We can't control that. We can't control what Mike Krzyzewski does. We can't control that. The only thing that we're able to control, and I keep trying to get this through our heads, we can't control who hired Chris Walker as a coach, because 9 out of 10 times it's a white AD gonna have to hire him. We can't control that. But one thing we can control is the young men who we have under our influence every single day. And those are things we should be able to control. No way that Drew Rosenhaus should represent almost 100 black players And time after time after time, these players are, when they out of the league, broke, unemployed, can't get no. Terrell Owens, Clinton Portis, a whole list. Just go look it up. But you can get on TV and strut around with Antonio Brown and the rest of them guys. Guess what? Antonio Brown, and all of these guys, Terrell Owens, they had a choice, Jimmy. They had a choice. They controlled it, and they chose Drew Rosenhaus. So that's the thing I'm talking about. Let's try to, Alan Branch gave me this a long time ago. Why don't we control the controllables? People on Facebook, let's control what we can control. Then hold up. And then if enough of us get in power, then maybe we can change something. I didn't mean to go that long, but Chris, you hit a nerve there. So I had to give it to
I
you
meant
like
to.
TIA.
Now here's how I want you to check something out while leading to it, help you lead into this, and you can check the Chop Shop, the bat stream on the Chop Shop, and check this out. The committee that handed down the sanctions is called the Infractions Committee, right? And the Infractions Committee, right? They're basically different members from different institutions. And the chair of the Infractions Committee is Gregory Christopher, and he's the athletic director at Xavier, right? Also on this committee is Joel Maturi. He's the former athletic director at Minnesota, right? Kay Norton is the president of Northern Colorado. David Roberts is the interim AD at USC, right? E. Thomas Sullivan is the president of Vermont, and the last person on the Infractions Committee is Stephen Madva. He's an attorney in private practice. Now, I just want to give you the names of those. Now, this leads me to something else that you guys didn't understand. Like Chris mentioned earlier, that's why I'm giving you these names. These committees, this wasn't a jury, wasn't a trial. They didn't select you. You have to go to jury duty to make this. This ain't the NCAA per se, the main office in Indianapolis. There are different committees. And a few months back, we listed them all up to you after the Condoleezza Rice. There are various committees that are comprised by various athletic directors and or presidents from various of the 351 Division I institutions. Now, this past July, just this year, they have what they call the Division I Men's Basketball Committee. Right? The Division I Men's Basketball Committee. That's the committee responsible. What is that committee responsible for, Chris Walker? The D1.
Oh, the new recruiting rules.
The new
You're talking about
recruiting.
the new recruiting rules and guidelines. Yeah.
So once again, what we just had, I listed to you a while ago, was the Infractions Committee. They have a different. That's not to be misconstrued. What we're about to explore and introduce to you guys now is some of the men's basketball, the Division I.
Come about the selection.
The Rose
committee?
Commission. Talking about the Rice Commission. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not the Rice Commission. The D1 Men's Basketball Committee.
Yeah,
Okay.
is this the committee that determines the NCAA bracket?
They do that too. They do other things. But they didn't do that too. Yes.
Okay.
So I know you know the answer to this, Howard.
Mm-hmm.
The current chair of the Division I Basketball Committee of all the schools, guess what school? His term ends after next year. They've already picked his successor.
Kansas.
Hold on. I'm gonna let Hatter. We don't get this from Hatter, because even Hatter can get this one. This being even
Nah.
Say it again. Say it. Bingo.
Mike
Bingo.
Krzyzewski. That's why, yeah.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
that's going to happen to do.
That's Kevin White.
Kevin White.
Yes.
Kevin White is the current head, the chair of the Division I men's basketball committee. And guess who they just replaced? Now, this is last year. This is last year, right? You know, I mean, you have a certain amount of years to serve, and then they let the next guy come on and succeed you, and which is right, which is fair. So they've named a successor just 3 months ago, and this successor, where's he from, Hatter? For $2,000, Hatter?
From Kentucky.
Now, Kansas.
No, Kentucky. Nick
Kentucky.
Barnhart. Kentucky.
So how about that? Think about
Rich-
what's going. Think about
Rich
this.
get richer, man.
Wow.
Rich get richer.
Speak on it, Chris. How does the rich get richer?
Because the blue, I keep telling you guys, man.
The blue.
And I would challenge any coach,
Uh-huh.
if you put your money where your Mac is, come on to Chop Shop. Any head coach,
Uh-huh.
any personnel from the NCAA, come on to Chop Shop. Don't hide behind words. I would challenge Mark Emmert to come on to Chop Shop, who makes $2.4 million, by the way.
Quick
I
comment, Mike.
remember the NCAA used to be in Overland Park, Kansas. A couple of little small buildings in Overland Park, Kansas. Have you guys ever been to the NCAA building now?
Yes, sir.
Have you
They
guys
got
ever
a
seen it in Indianapolis?
They got a compound now.
Unbelievable. It looked like Nike, okay?
Yes.
It looked like going to freaking Nike. And you've been to Nike, you see what that looks like. Guys, you have to understand, fellas, that's why I'm telling everybody, I'm glad I watched it in the middle of the night.
Now, what
You
would you
have
tell
to
the
watch
coach?
that 150 years. Come on this show and debate us on what we're talking about and tell us where we're wrong. Let the boom boom room get a hold of your tail and ask you questions and you answer them. There's
Chris.
too much hypocrisy going on.
Chris,
And
I got to
What's
get
that?
this piece of information, Chris.
Okay.
Because you just brought up something. You said Mark Emmert, you was in his pocket. You always in people's pocket.
All you have to, he's Googleable. He's Googleable.
But guess what I found out, Jimmy?
Mhm.
You know, little research, Jimmy. The NCAA, college football, when they first started, it was based on the principle. Notice I said based on, I'm talking about in the 1890s.
1896.
It was based on the principle, Jimmy, that everybody plays for fun. The coaches coach for fun. The kids play for fun. Nobody getting paid. That's the way it was at first. But guess what happened? In Chicago, Illinois. What his name? Mr. Rainey. Yeah,
forget
Mr.
his name, yeah.
His Rainey, it got 3 words. He was commissioned to build Chicago University with the Rockefellers' money. Whole lot of money from the Rockefellers. His first thing he did, he was supposed to build a college, Jimmy, not a football team. First thing he did, he said, his first hire was Amos Alonzo Stagg. Go Google that, y'all. One of the greatest football coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up, Jimmy. You remember the football coach is supposed to be what? Playing for what? How much they supposed to be getting paid, Jimmy?
He's supposed to be an amateur just like the freaking players.
Amateurs, just like a student. Everybody's supposed to be amateur. Nobody getting paid. So guess what he did, Jimmy? He hired him and gave him the salary of a professor. So he was like a 10-year professor, but was a coach. That changed the way to coach now. So guess what? They changed it the way you can pay the coach. They just forgot to change the thing to pay the players. Back then.
Absolutely.
Chris, they changed it. Let's get these coaches some money. But
Right.
let's get them guys.
So why? Because they found a way they can generate revenue.
Yes.
They found a way to generate. Do you realize that a school like Notre Dame, as you watch this documentary, I don't want to give it away. They said this little school in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, because they start paying the coaches, became a powerhouse. It became a powerhouse. And people got to understand the evolution of why some of this stuff is happening, even when they're being recruited. It opened my eyes to a few things that I already knew. But I'm going to tell you something else that opened my eyes, Jimmy. And I know you still, I don't know if we want to pivot off this, that blue me away. And guys, I'm telling you right now, if you want to keep information from people, certain people, put it in a book or put it online because they won't read it. But if you really want to get it to them, put it on Instagram. They'll read it and they'll look at it all day long.
Yeah.
Paul Hornung won the Heisman Trophy. Jimmy, what I'm about to tell you right now, Jimmy, and I love for the Boom Boom Room to comment on this. What I'm about to tell you right now, I didn't even know. It blew me away. Paul Hornung, everyone's All-American, won the Heisman Trophy. It was 54 or 56, Hatter?
56.
So, Jimmy, think about what I'm about to tell you right now. Notre Dame was 8-2. He threw 13 touchdowns.
No. Excuse me.
Whoa, Hatter, what you doing?
I'm sorry.
Let me right now. God dang it. He was 8-2 at Notre Dame, threw 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and won the Heisman. Right? Over Jim Brown. You hear what I just said? And won the Heisman. Oklahoma won the championship. They had an offensive lineman that was picked 4th. They got 4 more, was the 4th most votes ahead of Jim Brown. Another player on the team, I forget his first name, I think when it says McKay, was picked 3rd. And Johnny Majors from Tennessee, right, was picked 2nd. Even though Jim Jones, what's his name? Jim Brown was the most dominant force in college football, right? And no black player had ever won it. Jimmy, now let me tell you what really happened. Talking about information. Paul Hornung, Notre Dame was 2-8. Jimmy, he threw 3 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, and won the Heisman over Jim Brown.
No, you said, hold on, Chris. You said it 2 different ways. You mean 13 touchdowns?
I said it 2 different ways intentionally.
He did it intentionally, Jimmy.
You would think if he won the Heisman, he would have been 8-2 and threw 13 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It was the other way around. He went 2-8. He is the only player in history on a losing team to win the Heisman. That's how much they didn't want Jim Brown to get the freaking Heisman back then. Dude, we're talking about some stuff that's entrenched that we unpacking that I would dare anybody to come on the Chop Shop and talk about. Anybody.
Jimmy, you got to comment on that, Jimmy. Because Jimmy, you always talk about, Jimmy said, man, you got to be on a winning team. Jimmy, is that what you said? Hey, man, the quarterback got to win. Man, this man was 2-8, Jimmy.
Okay, I understand. In 1956,
yeah,
upon understanding the year and the climate, does that really surprise you?
Jimmy,
really
Oklahoma won the championship, and they had a guy voted 3rd and 4th, and one was an offensive lineman, and Johnny Majors was a bad dude at Tennessee. And I want to say they played in the Sugar Bowl, and they gave it to Paul Hornung.
Okay, once again, you wasn't born in 1956.
2-8, Jimmy.
Okay, still. They didn't like black folk. Do you want to? No. Would that satisfy a lot of folks?
More than that.
He said that. He know that. But he got some white guys up here was better than him too. But guess what? It had to be the golden boy. You got to realize it had to be the golden boy, Paul Hornung, that the public would forget about. It was really about Paul Hornung and Jim Brown. That's really what it was all about.
No doubt.
Think about Johnny Manziel.
Yes.
Right? He won one big game. That was Alabama. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right? He had already been anointed. Wasn't he? It already been anointed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at after the Alabama game, you look at Johnny Manziel, like, after the end when the lights went on.
He was winning though, Jimmy. He won though. He performed.
He did win.
He won, Jimmy. Jimmy, and to your point, Jimmy, and the way you do your rankings, to your point, even though he flamed out the NFL, it's not about the NFL winning the Heisman, what your potential is in the league. It's about what you did in college, correct or not? That's based on the way you rank, the way you do your rankings.
That's the way I do it. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is when the Heisman has nothing to do with projecting what you're going to be in the NFL. It has nothing to do with that because there's a lot of those guys, Danny Werfel, those guys had terrible careers when they went to the NFL. Because one, Tim Tebow because one has nothing to do with the other. But when you go 2-8, have 3 interceptions and 13 three touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Come on, man.
I
What are we
don't care
talking
what
about here?
color you are.
What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
But
Because what they said was, man, we'll just put a dude from Notre Dame there, and we won't. It don't work. It won't matter about Jim Brown because the story will be about Notre Dame. It won't be about Paul Hornung. I'm just telling you, man. Like, we got to understand. They got to look at the documentary. More importantly, we got to get Jack Davis. We got to get somebody from that era to talk about this stuff.
And Jimmy, and just 5 years after that, Jimmy, 5 years after that, Ernie Davis won the Heisman.
That movie, The Express.
The movie Express. He won the Heisman. Just 5. They didn't like us then either. But evidently we didn't have a golden boy for them to put over him. They didn't like us in 1961 either, Jimmy. You follow me? So that's why I wasn't too. I understand what you're saying. Yes, they didn't like us. You know, because you got to remember, if you watch the movie, I never forget when Jesse Owens,
man, don't even tell that story.
Came back and
don't
they
even
gave
tell
him
that
a
story.
banquet. When he came back and won, and they gave him a banquet, Jimmy.
In his honor.
He had to, in his honor, and he had to go through the back door. His coach went through the front door. He had to go through the back. You know, in that time back then, hey, do you know when they traveled, those guys couldn't stay, the black guys couldn't stay on the same floor as the white players. Dude, and all we trying to do, because a lot of people don't know this. Listen, we got people on this show that is not, but y'all that are not black. But y'all got to understand, a lot of this stuff is still, I'm gonna put it like this. A lot of those guys who were implicating those rules and doing that stuff, they still alive.
Right.
The Mitch McConnells of the world. The Robert Barr of the world.
Yo, man, you're gonna get us turned off. You're gonna tell Facebook turn us off, Jimmy. Tell them to stop. Facebook they're gonna Rick Whitmore us. They're gonna Rick Whitmore us.
All I'm saying is,
turn that mofo off. Let's go. Keep going.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, this stuff is that's why that boy. What the boy says, systemic racism, white supremacy. Y'all gotta understand. I sit there and watch that show that Chris talking about, college football, 150 years. And I sit up and watch George Wallace say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. And I looked at the crowd behind him, and everybody clapped.
But Hatter, think about what I'm about to tell you. When you're watching the documentary, I want everybody to go read. I sent y'all an article on the first black player. He wasn't the first one. Wilbur Jackson.
John Mitchell. It was
John Mitchell, the first player to play at Alabama. And guess what he said, Jimmy? Which is what we got to think about as African Americans. Even though, and it's psychology, that they didn't want us there, right? They didn't want us there. And guess what he said? We all wanted to play for him. I was like, oh my God.
He was from Alabama.
I know.
The other guy is Wilbur Jackson. And
right.
Wilbur is just as important also, because Wilbur went to the league. But John Mitchell, he was the first one to play because he went off on the kickoff. He was on the kickoff, so he was the first one in the game, and he made the tackle.
Right.
But Wilbur Jackson was the better player in the starter.
Correct.
Okay.
But he gets right.
And hold up. And Wilbur and John Mitchell, the guy they wrote the story about, Chris, I did some research on. He was the Jackie Robinson type.
Correct.
A nice guy.
Right. That can handle the abuse.
He can handle the abuse. And
right.
He went. Bear Bryant gave him a job right after that. Right. As an assistant coach, and then he wound up having coaching careers all over the place. And guess who he's friends with? Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians seems like he know every brother in football. He hung out with every brother in football.
He's definitely the Bill Clinton of coaches, that's for sure.
Now, Bill Clinton didn't hang out with us. He just
what I'm saying.
Instruments.
You know what I'm saying.
He didn't hang out with us. No, I don't know what you're saying. But Jimmy, come on, man. Where you want to go from here?
Well, hey, Jimmy, what the Boom Boom Room
What you
talking
got,
about?
brother?
We might get turned off soon.
That's where we go and check out some of the comments in the Boomer Room that we missed earlier. And we're going, and Anthony Weston said the number of white athletes graduating is almost double the number of black players graduating from those very same FBS football teams. And
What does he mean by that?
well, just providing, I guess, during the course of your conversation about the players and the coaches and the getting paid and the black players going there and guys who graduate. At least he could provide some intel. How about we go down to another one from let's go to Lionel Golf. Lionel says we're pushing black kids to get used more so by the system. Paid kids can get cut and sent home at any moment. Then what? The pay for play pursued has to equal the play for education. And
Listen,
also,
they're not going. I'll address that, but keep going.
and then of course Todd Holmes say, "Damn, why is it so hard to understand that they didn't like us, and right now it's clear that hasn't much changed." And those are just a couple of comments from the Boomer Room. You guys keep the comments going, and Trey Phillips gave some intel about the Olympics you was mentioned in the 1936 Olympics. In the 200, Frank Robinson's brother came in second place behind Jesse Owens. So just a little thing. Y'all keep the comments going. That's one of the things that makes the Boom Boom Room great. Chris, you had a thought on one of the comments a while ago.
It's not the pay for play team. They got to understand. First of all, I don't know why they're calling it pay for play. The bottom line is when they get a scholarship, they're not going to say your scholarship is tied to your athletic ability. You got to realize they're not allowed to cut players based on that. In the NFL, they're allowed to do that, right? Because they're professionals. Now, if college football goes back and say, we're going to cut you for athletic ability, guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to outright pay these guys, and they don't want to do that. So the compromise is allowing them to make money off their likenesses. While, again, you got to realize somebody got to understand. We need an economist to come on and really make these people understand in the Boom Boom Room or in the world how much these schools are actually making. What a TV deal. Maybe on Monday, I'm going to find out. I'm going to tell you what an SEC TV deal with ESPN is worth, and then how it's dispersed throughout the universities, or when a team goes to the NCAA tournament and the league has 6 teams that go, how they disperse the money, and the money they make from revenue from ticket sales at Kentucky and merchandise sales at Kentucky and donor people giving money because how good the basketball team is. They made a comment in this same movie, and I noticed at Villanova. Anytime Villanova wins a championship, enrollment goes up twofold, and so does giving. Because of what? People got to understand, in the NFL, the head coach gets paid less than the best players. He don't get paid more than the best players. Why is that? So why is it so hard to think about in college? It can't be the same way. In college, they force you to come make the coach the pro, to make the coach the guy. They said in that documentary, out of the 50 states in this country, think about what I'm about to tell you. Out of the 50 states in the United States, the highest paid state employee of 31 of those states is the football coach. Did y'all hear what I just said? In the United States, Jimmy, 50 states, 31 of the 50 states, the highest paid state employee is the football coach. And you telling me it's not a business. And y'all telling me it's not a business. Come on, man. We got to wake up and understand what's going on.
But Craig, back to what Robert Hatter said. I can't control what they paying him.
No, you know what we can do?
We control what we can control. We had an industry, the hip hop industry, that was born and founded by us. A whole industry, Chris Walker, and we just gave it away. If now we talk about reparations, why did we keep what we had? Now everybody else making money off of hip hop except us. You know, they gonna give you a Jay-Z here, they gonna give you a Puffy here, but it's some we got to start control. 31, you're right. But guess what? We can't control those because we didn't hire those guys. But we can control the people we hire. We can control the people who make money with us. We got a brother that owns a liquor store here in Houston. Me and Jimmy went 20 miles out of the way because we wanted to go to his liquor store to buy somebody some liquor. Sometimes it was inconvenience from us. We was in traffic, but we went and did it. But guess what? Jimmy and we had control over that. We got to start controlling the stuff that we can control. I can't control them hiring nobody at Memphis. Thank God they hired Penny down there because they didn't want to hire him. And I repeat, they didn't. But he's Penny Hardaway. No. Because they owed another dude, a brother, $10 million. They didn't want to pay him $10 million to leave and go pay him $20 million to come. I don't control that though. But we got to learn how to control the controllables. I know it's going over y'all head, but I'm going to keep saying it until we learn that we can control the things we can control. Go, Chris.
Oh, I mean, let Jimmy go. I mean, that says enough for me right there.
I mean that absolutely. I mean, but that's the whole thing, guys. Is each is his own, and to try to make a person spend their money the way they want to, after they have earned it. That's all we can do. Is we have the platform to shape their ideas and to try to influence them after informing them of facts and of things that make up the current state of their culture and of the communities. And then guess what? After the end, you're gonna do what you want to do anyway. Or it's like some people go to church on a Sunday and they'll hear that good sermon. They're gonna say rah rah and amen. And then as soon as they get out in the car, you done forgot you rolled up to the church, you had it on the LL Cool J Rock the Bells radio station on your satellite radio. It comes back on. Your favorite song takes you back to the 80s or the 90s. And guess what? You done forgot all about the sermon. And all it rubs on off and it dissolves out of your memory. That's the thing is.
No, it's not a sermon, Jimmy. I wasn't preaching a sermon. I was communicating life because I do it in my life. I'm not telling nobody where to spend their money. Don't put that spin on me. Everybody got a choice. I said he controls, the key word, controls where he spent his money. That's all I said. He controls. I learned this, Chris, not too long ago. Our decisions that we make. If you decide to do this or you decide to go here, that means everything else died over here. If you look at decide, the root word is side. Side, that's in homicide, matricide, genocide. So if I choose to go do something over here, if I choose to go support the PWIs, that means the HBCUs died. If I'm a player, and I keep hearing where people, I remember Michigan basketball. I am not a fan of Michigan basketball. But guess what? When I start hearing about Michigan basketball, it's when those 5 guys went to that school at the same time. To me, Chris, you might have knew about Michigan before that. Robert Hatter, the Fab Five made Michigan famous. And all people was trying to say is, what if? It's not going to ever happen. Because Michigan was a football powerhouse, not a basketball powerhouse back then. Chris, you might know more. But all I'm saying, Jimmy, I'm not trying to preach a sermon, tell nobody where to spend their money. My thing was showing you we have control. If we decide not to go over there and support the brother, guess what? His business gonna die. I'm not telling you where you, but I'm just, look, it's consequences to your actions. So all we doing is making the other guy powerful, and we're gonna sit back and say, he's powerful, he controlling everything. You gave him the power because you talking about, well, listen to that sermon, and I'm gonna spend my money. What? Yeah, I understand. But you can't complain that this guy's powerful and you're making him powerful. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's what a lot of people do. Do you not think that some people just like to complain?
Oh, no doubt.
Okay, so think that perspective. Let that soak in. Let that resonate. Some people just like to complain. We've met women like that. And all they want to do is complain. Some people just love, some men just love to complain and just sit down on that couch and complain. And that's what goes up into it. That may be what we're facing with some people. Now it's going to be a separation at some point in time. They will complain until it happens to them.
Correct.
Until it happens to them. Then the complaining, then it's like you're ready to be activate now. You're ready to go outside and get everybody, hey, let's go and do. No, wait a minute. Oh, now you want to. That's what I mean by all eggs don't hatch on the same day. A lot of people's eggs will hatch when when somebody knocked on the outside of their shell. But anyway, we move on, and of course we're officially on the back nine of the Chop Shop. You just tuned in with a lot of good intel provided to you guys today, and how do we go and go into something that you love coming up later on, guys. Want to provide you guys. Don't forget getting the NFL and Chris Walker and Robert Hatter going to go at it with their picks for the NFL games this weekend, which starts tonight.
Yeah.
And also I'm going to release to you guys. I'm giving you an exclusive. I wasn't going to do this until October the 1st, but since it's leaked out a little bit and I had flyers in circulation last night at the Houston Area Basketball Coaches Association annual clinic, which I spoke at. So it was an honor to speak at that clinic alongside of Kelvin Sampson, head coach of University of Houston. He spoke, as well as Danny Casper, head coach of Texas State. So it's always good to speak in front with and then congregate with a lot of the high school coaches because, after all, it is the scholastic season. Now, I'm going to release to you guys shortly the schedule for the Hoops Giving Classic. I can't wait till Monday. I can't wait till October the 1st. I'm going to give you guys that schedule, which is going to take place on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you guys a schedule that's going to be coming up in 10 minutes. Meanwhile, then, of course, at the quarter till, you guys will get Chris Walker, Robert Hatter. One of those guys will remain winless after this weekend. Somebody going to be winless in the bucket after this weekend on the NBA picks. Shout out to the Astros as well, guys. The Houston Astros, we hadn't been keeping in touch. They were battling with the Yankees for the best record in Major League Baseball. What does that mean? Well, it means home field advantage throughout the American League playoffs. The Astros won last night. Cole is on the mound. Man, they do. Do you understand? Cole and Verlander, the two pitchers for the Astros, they're battling for the Cy Young, right? How about Alex Bergman, former LSU Tiger? He hit his 40th home run last night. He's battling with Trout. They're the final two for the MVP of the American League. Right? Trout is not playing anymore. Hell, the Los Angeles Angels are next to last. Right? So we mentioned and also we got the young fellow, the young Dominican Alvarez. He's a front runner for the Rookie of the Year. We can have the Rookie of the Year, we can have the MVP, and we can have a Cy Young winner on the same team. It's very well possible. Astros are playing in Seattle, which, guess what? Do you realize the Astros have played Seattle 19 times this year? Guess how many times the Astros beat Seattle?
18.
18 out of 19. 18 out of 19. So I see you, Seawalk. So guess what? The Yankees are playing at
Tampa Bay, who's the second place in that division.
Second place in the division and fighting for a wild card spot. Tampa Bay is fighting for their lives for postseason. They won 3 in a row, beat the Yankees twice. So I'm loving go Tampa Bay. Go Tampa Bay. Now, meanwhile, just giving you guys a little shot of baseball because it's going into October, and that's one of the best times of year because October is the month where you get Major League Baseball, you get NFL, and you get NBA all in the same month. Got me? So now, we're going over. And Hatter, I want to ask you about this. Go to some NFL, then we'll come back with the Hoops Giving Classic. On ESPN has announced, has broke the story that the NFL owners are proposing a 17-game season. The collective bargaining agreement is set to expire in 2020 for the NFL, right? Now, a 17-game season, which could possibly eliminate the preseason or shrink the preseason. The players are not fond. I'll put it like this: the Players Association is not fond of extending the season without the players getting a more of a share of the revenue. That means that's another game for the owners, mind you, but not more money for the players. Alan, your thoughts?
What you mean? What you mean? If it's 17 games in the regular season, it's 17 games for the players. Players don't get paid for preseason. They get paid for regular season games.
They can get paid. They don't get paid for the preseason. Well, back in DeMaurice Smith, right? He's the executive director of the NFLPA, right? And he said that the idea of discuss. Like in the time, it was an 18
would not be in the best
game.
interest of the players. The players don't want to play extra games because they don't want to get hit extra time.
And according to the story in the NFL Players Association, they say they're not interested in an expanded season, especially without a significant increase in its percentage of the revenue. That's what I just said a while ago. That's what they just said. So that's why they're not interested. They want more money. They want a more share.
Percentage, but you said the play. But if the players play, if they play another game, that means it's going to be some more TV money. It's going to increase the revenue pie. It's going to increase, so the players would be getting more money. But you got to understand, Jimmy, all of this is posturing. If you give me this, I'll give you this. They setting up the confrontation right now. All these are proposed things because you got to have some bargaining chips when you so the owners are saying, well, y'all want this, all right, we'll give up this. So all they're doing is posturing right now. And if they always remember, if they put it on ESPN, they just want us to talk about it. It ain't no big deal. So all it is, in negotiations, you want to have chips because the players gonna ask for this. The players gonna go in there and ask, man, we want more revenue. Then he gonna say, okay, well then you give us this. Okay, you give. The players might say, take away the franchise tag. Then you give us this. So they just posturing back and forth, trying to figure out. I haven't read the article, but I done been around this stuff long enough to know when they put it on ESPN for people to talk about it, it's some crap. They just posturing for positions right now. Because guess what? When they go into them negotiations in the collective bargain, you ain't going to hear a peep out of that room, just like you ain't heard a peep out of that room when that girl went up there to meet Roger Goodell. So that's all.
So
Chris, you want to talk about that?
No. I mean, I agree. It's definitely posturing. And, the players don't want to play the preseason. And they anytime they put those pads on, they want to get paid.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. Like, man, if I go out there and risk, why do you think the quarterback doesn't play in the preseason? Why would you put your quarterback out there to play one game? Frankly, you paying him Russell Williams $79 million, Russell Wilson $79 million guaranteed, and to put him out there for a game that doesn't count, right? Think about that. He has nothing to gain.
It count for the owner.
It definitely counts for the owner because guess what? It's on TV. He's selling hot dogs. He's selling parking slots. It counts for them. It's not free to go to preseason games. So I agree with the players. They should get more of a slice.
Well,
What they gonna give up? What they gonna give up, Chris? To get something, you gotta give something.
No doubt.
If you want a little, if you know them girls, if you want a little this, you gotta do a little that.
That's crazy. And of course, now we also want to remind you guys in high school football, we have high school football news to insert to you guys, and that is after a week off, the North Shore Mustangs will have homecoming this Friday, hosting LaPorte High School. Why is that new? Well, because I have intel and have confirmed that star players Zach Evans and Shadrack Banks are expected to make, Shadrack expected to make his season debut with the North Shore Mustangs. He's the All-American wide receiver who has yet to play, got hurt during the non-scholastic 7-on-7 season. And Zach Evans, who had been suspended for the past 3 weeks after violation of team policy. We just put it like that. But those two young men are expected to make their debut, return to the team this weekend for North Shore. So if you hadn't seen them play, North Shore would be at full throttle pretty much against LaPorte. And we'll see how this is going to work. Also,
Jimmy, hold up. Speaking of high school football, I got something for you. You know, Mr. Katie, where you at? I know this kid, little Hunter Washington, right? The little running back. The little cornerback, Jimmy. Hunter Washington, number 7. Guess who just came and offered him? USC, Florida, Ohio State, TCU, Texas Tech. 3 games he played. He got 2 interceptions and both ran. You remember the one that ran the touchdown back in? Mm-hmm. The Hunter is on his way. That little kid, you remember, Jimmy? You laughed at me because I was telling you about him. Then I said, Jimmy might not play. In warm-ups of the North Shore game, in the warm-ups, he twisted his ankle. You remember? And he didn't go that day. But guess what? He done picked it up. So, yeah, shout out to Hunter Washington, Katy High School. Now, what else we got?
Oh, what else we got? It's definitely time to give you guys the schedule for the Hoops Giving Classic. I have it somewhere around me. And this the Hoops Giving Classic is going to take place always the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and that would be at Houston Christian High School. And that's located in West Houston, right off the Beltway and I-10, between 290 on that Beltway 8. This game is be 8 games on the day, and I'm going to run right through them, and you'll get more in details, of course, on rcssports.com. That's rcssports.com. If you hadn't been there, that's your daily fix for the high school basketball scene in and around Greater Houston. Okay. November the 17th, the Hoops Giving Classic. 9:30 game, Ridge Point versus Kincaid. At 11 o'clock, we have Atascocita versus Westbury Christian. At 12:30, we got Concordia Lutheran versus San Antonio Wagner. At 2 p.m., Port Arthur Memorial versus Cy Creek. 3:30, we have St. Thomas versus Silsby. At 5 p.m., we have Jack Yates High School versus San Antonio Cornerstone Christian. At 6:30, we have Martin Ranch versus Dickinson. at 8 p.m., Houston Christian and Maid Creek. Those are your 8 games that's going to comprise the Hoops Giving Classic. We had it scheduled posted in the VIP news on RCS Sports later on this evening to be on the front page for everybody to view starting on tomorrow. But that all day games will be only $10, right? 10-day pass, a full pass, right? Get you to see all games, $10. That's it. And of course, don't forget, guys, the season opener is taking place on Saturday, November the 16th. That schedule can be found on the front of rcssports.com. That's the season opener. That's the opening weekend of the high school season, which is November the 16th. That's a Saturday at the M.O. Campbell Center, which is on the headquarters of the Aldine ISD, located in the shadows of Bush Intercontinental Airport. So now, those are I gave you guys a Hoops Giving Classic, which one of the headliner game would be Martin Ranch versus Dickinson. That way, everybody, so rematch. They both played last year to open the season. Tremont Mark versus LJ Crowder. See, one thing about me, I'm doing the schedules, I'm going to give you guys just what you want. That way now, it's put up or shut up. You got 2 months. Get right, get your mind right, get your body right, get your head right, put up or shut up. Now, mind you, we've had number 1 versus number 2 showdowns in the past couple of years. Remember, last year, I mentioned we had LJ Crowder and Tremont Mark. They got it on, right? Martin Ranch won the game, if I'm not mistaken, right? How you was there? And
I don't remember that far back.
well, Tremont Mark had about 40 in that game. Martin Ranch won.
I wasn't at no game because I ain't never seen him hit 40. I wasn't at that game. I ain't never seen him hit 40.
He had about. I'll put the numbers as soon as short exactly what he had shortly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, we had Kendrick Davis versus Quentin Grimes. Sam Houston and Kendrick Davis won the game. Quentin Grimes showed. It's a way. My point is, it's a way when you have such highly anticipated showdowns for both players to satisfy the crowd, to satisfy the audience. It's a way. It's not like if you lose the game, you're trash. No. Now, if you play like trash, then you're going to deserve the criticism because people will have heard so much hype. And they're coming to see if you are what somebody advertised you to be. The thing about it, the kids are the last to know who's and how they've been hyped. And they think they want it, but then when that pressure, because nowadays it ain't like the old days, people are going to keep their comments and their, and say them in their, in earshot. But now that stuff trickles over to social media. And that's part of the stuff that comes with it. If you don't, I tell people all the time, if you don't want your business circulated on social media, then why the hell are you posting on social media? It's like pleading the fifth. If you're going to plead the fifth, there are a lot of people out there that don't have social media accounts. There are a few. But if you don't want people in your business, then why are you putting your business out there? Then when all of a sudden people start saying and expressing their opinions about you, now you want to stop. Game over. Guess what? Hoops Giving Classic, November 27th. Season openers, November the 16th. It's going to be going down in H-Town, and I hope you guys enjoy that. But now, it is that time of the day, right? It is time for Chris Walker and Robert Haller, y'all, to give their NFL picks. I'm pulling out my paper right now. And
I'm on Dust Hatter. I'm on Dust Hatter.
Chris ran out the door last Thursday,
And,
guys.
and while we're doing this, Jimmy, I want you to go find that 40. You talking about somebody scored.
I say about
Oh,
40. I say
Yeah,
I said
know you
about.
said 40. 40. No,
I
no,
said,
no, no, no,
hell,
no, no,
I
no.
said you
Go
get about.
find me the 40.
Hell, I said about 40. I know how I
But
talk.
when
I
you
always.
said 40, 40.
I say about. I say about. That's what I said. Say it about 40. I didn't say the exact
Well,
number.
why couldn't you just say he had 30 something? When
Yeah,
you
crazy.
said,
Adam, when black folk bragging, it always sound good when you pump air in the tire.
I didn't know you was bragging. I didn't know you was bragging.
I'm bragging about my event from last year. Both kids live up to the hype. Even the team that lost and the team that won.
Oh,
Just
I
like
thought you-
just like the year before, Kendrick Davis hit 29 points. Quentin Grimes had 31 in the L. They both lived up to the hype.
Hey, Jimmy, somebody said you said 40, Jimmy. Then somebody said you said 42.
Nah, he didn't say 42.
No, I'm just kidding.
I say
No.
about, man. I say about.
No, it don't matter. It don't matter. So let's go. Let's go. Come on. I thought I had something for y'all, but it didn't come through.
No.
But Jimmy, I did have a mailbag.
What you got in the mailbag?
I think I had a grassroots mailbag. These guys was getting it in. I just want, before we go here, let me give you a couple of. I think I wrote some names down this time. Hold up. Okay. They said, hold up. Somebody said, Courtney Brooks is yours today. He said, I've met doctors, lawyers, teachers, police officers who don't act nearly as important as grassroots basketball guys do. Let me repeat that. I got to go back in. He said, I've met doctors, lawyers, teachers, police officers who don't act nearly as important as grassroots basketball guys do. Then Slim McDaniel came back and said, they didn't hear you in the back, coach. I personally know a millionaire doesn't act like these guys, but he said something else. So, is that true? Do the grassroots guys walk around here like, well, maybe they might think they're more important than a doctor. Maybe they might, Courtney Brooks, maybe these grassroots guys might think they're more important than a lawyer and a teacher and a police officer. Notice you didn't say James Harden, Beyonce, Jay-Z. You didn't say this. You just said, he said he met people. That's weird. What you think about that, Chris? Chris, have you found out, Jimmy, have you found out that in the grassroots guys walk in the building like they one of them dudes? Chris?
I mean, I used to be one of those dudes. When you talk about,
important?
well, I'm not saying I thought I was important, but if you talk about why they think they're important, like the mental, what's going through their head of why they would come in with that type of attitude, it's because maybe the people that are propping them up on the perch, people are making them feel that way. You know, for every cause, there's an effect. And the bottom line is they're probably walking in that way because parents are putting them out there like that. They get a sneaker contract or they're coaching kids. It's power. And man, we all know, man, there's power and money. Sometimes power is more important than money. Perceived power sometimes is bigger than people having money. And if these guys are the gateway or people feel like they're the portal to them getting something or being on television or getting to the NBA, that's perceived power. So those guys may be drinking their own Kool-Aid. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for some of the guys that do. And the thing about the Chop Shop, I said I used to be a summer coach. I'm not saying I walked in thinking I was better than people, you know, and I understand that. I'm saying, like, I can understand how those guys can feel because they're talking to college coaches. They may be talking to NBA scouts. Parents may be paying them. Parents, Jimmy Hicks is writing about them, and everybody is giving them attention. So again, it may, and think about it, stuff that they're talking about is the United States being an ESPN culture, basketball being the most popular sport. I can see how people can be like, he's the Robin Hood of the hood. He's important, So think about it. A guy may have a rap single out on the radio and be from that same hood, but he may not get as much love as certain dudes walking into the gym. It just depends. It depends on how people look at him. That's what's making him think that he's popping, is the way people are propping him up. And Jimmy may have a different opinion.
Well, I mean, it's part of the culture which we live in, and you wouldn't know that exists unless you have indulged or engulfed yourself into the pool of which those guys that are swimming in. Or guys like myself.
Hold up. Courtney Brooke was a grassroots guy.
That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't know unless you on Twitter yourself. You wouldn't know unless you swimming in the pool, in the same pool.
No, he said he walking around. Not on Twitter, walking around.
Okay. Understand something. Remember I said this several times. This is the thing. There are different things which people are chasing out there. And that's why I know, and I've told you guys, that's why I know most people are going to always miss me on the mark, because most people out there are chasing paper. They're chasing paper. I'm chasing power. I said it before. I do it for free all day long. I exchange power for the money all day long, because if you got the power, you control others to go get you money. I mean, it's just period. That's Iceberg Slim. That goes back in the 70s. So understand. So yes, there's a power struggle out there for a lot of people. And then a lot of people realize they just want to go and pop it in the microwave, don't want to put it in the oven no more. Power comes in the oven. It don't come in the microwave. So that's my take on that topic right there. It's just plain and simple.
I got
it. And you know the ones who complain about it? The ones who complain about it is the ones who don't.
Those who don't have it. There you go. The ones that don't have it.
I got a question then. Okay, good. I like that. Hey, that wasn't my words. I was just laughing. Some people have a lot of followers on Instagram, but don't get the same love on Twitter. Why is that?
I really don't know. As you know, Howard, I'm not on Instagram a lot.
So let me help you. Somebody help you. They said because in Twitter, there are no filters to make your dumb ass sound better.
Yeah, so that's
that was a joke. I got it. Oh, see, you got filters on. You got to remember, you got filters on Instagram to make you look better, but they don't have filters in Twitter to make your dumb. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say it. Aren't like that. Hold up, I got another one, Chris. Mark Edwards. He said, "Need you grown ass men to stop crowning these children king at 16 years old."
Oh, I know that Mark Edwards.
See, here's the thing.
I know that Mark Edwards.
Can I finish it first and then let me finish it and then
go on finish. Go on.
We ain't worried about that. We all right. How about them allow them to play the game and let's enjoy the exploits and production. We also need to not be afraid to critique and challenge our kids in hopes of making them better than advertised. Now y'all can go. Attack that like a dog on a bone. Go on.
Now, go on, Jimmy.
No, the last sentence, it faded on me a little bit.
I'm sorry. Okay, the last sentence. We also need to not be afraid to critique and challenge our kids in hopes of making them better than advertised.
Well, once again, it goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. Listen.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay. Stop crying.
As a parent, I remember a while back, right? There was a guy in Houston, and one of the amateur media outlets had get a story. His son was like in the 4th grade, 5th grade, some stuff like that. And the guy did a story and highlighted this young kid on the internet, on his website, on Twitter, whatever. The dad went to the guy and asked him to take it down. My son is only 10, 11 years old. I'm this parent. I don't need that. We're not doing that for that right now. And it followed me to right now. My point is, okay, it's all fun. A lot of parents, they go and they send stuff out, they promoting the mixtape, they buying mixtapes, promoting the whenever somebody mentions their son's name at a very young age in elementary school or 5th or 6th grade. And then guess what? As soon as now you wanted that, you signed up for that. You wanted the attention. Otherwise, why are you on social media? Why don't you make your page private? Robert Hatter, wasn't your Twitter page private for a couple of years until the Chop Shop?
Till the Chop Shop. Always was private.
Okay, it's a reason why it was private. That's what I'm saying. See, people want to go and make their own blueprint, which you have the right to. But the consequences to what you go and do, everything has consequences. So if you're going to sign up and go on social media, guess what? That's you, boss. That's you. It comes with it. The scrutiny going to come with it. So you want your son not to be critiqued, but you want him to be celebrated. Get your son, don't get him. Remember, LeBron James just in 2019 allowed his son to have an Instagram account. He just allowed his son to have an Instagram account as he entered high school. That was the bargain that they had. And guess what? Soon as he opened that account, within a couple of matter of hours, this young man had 1 million followers. Right? And guess what his son did within a matter of hours of on social media?
Start talking crazy.
Start talking like he was in the restroom at the school.
Guys, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. And Jimmy can comment on this. Jimmy knows when I started doing summer basketball, he coached me on a lot of stuff. You guys got to realize when I started out, Jimmy would know this. It was John Urie I was going against. I had just gotten a contract from Adidas. My ex-roommate took over for Sonny Vaccaro, Darren Kalish. Jimmy gave me the blueprint. I had to understand the blueprint. Even though I was a college coach, I had to understand how summer basketball worked. And no matter what all my expertise was, I couldn't activate my expertise unless I knew the landscape. Right, Jimmy? You remember those conversations, right, Jimmy? Mm-hmm. Back in the day. So what I learned is what gave me an edge on some of these summer guys and what gave them an edge on me. I'm going to be quite honest with you. There's certain things that Chris Walker just don't want to do. I'm sorry. And there's certain things that no matter what they try to compare themselves when it comes to me, they just can't do. There's positives and there's negatives. When it comes to these kids, I'm going to say this again. And Jimmy just so eloquently said it. And Hatter, Jimmy, I don't have our own kids, but I've helped a lot of kids that got parents. And so have Jimmy. And Hatter, you've helped a lot of kids that got parents, but you also have had your own. So you've seen things or had to deal with things that Jimmy and I didn't have to deal with. But you know what I try to tell parents, and you guys heard me give a speech on this. At the end of the day, a parent only cares about their child. And guess what, Hatter? That's all they should care about. You do whatever you want for your kid. I can't tell you how to. Just like you said yesterday, can't nobody tell me how to handle my child. And it's not my job to tell somebody how to handle their kid.
That's right.
But let me tell you, there's another side. It cut both ways, though. Mm-hmm. As Jimmy say, you want to prop his little ass up? Guess what? There's a whole lot of people over there trying to do what? Ginsu him. Because it's about competition. And we all want the same thing. People got to understand that. We all chasing the same thing, and it's only a couple of spots. That's why they got to watch Hard Knocks. 1,000 dudes that played at Alabama, that played at Penn State, that ran out on that field with 100,000 people watching, got what? Ginsu. Training camp is happening right now in the NBA, Jimmy. Y'all just said yesterday, they're bringing this many dudes to camp, and Hatter said, hey, only this many dudes are going to make it. They could have been player of the year. They could have been whatever in college, and guess what they're going to get? Ginsu. So, as Mark Elwood says, the problem is you're not going to, with the world is not, the world of, because we're in capitalism, the world is not going to end of kids getting propped up. We can talk about that all day long. We can talk about how we can legislate it. That's stupid. There's going to be rankings. There's going to be recruiting services. Jimmy Hitt's going to make his bread. Dane Irvin going to make his bread. Alan Branch going to make his bread. The college coaches got budgets to pay for it. People going to put Instagram accounts up on there, and people they're going to play baller TV. Am I lying, Jimmy? It's an industry. So you can talk whatever you want about we shouldn't prop them up. It's going to happen, man. I'm sorry. And I honestly, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. People make money doing other kind of stupid stuff. I don't have a problem with it. But what presents as an issue, and I like to hear both you guys comment on it, is when people, unfortunately, fair or unfair, right? They can't handle the residue that comes down from when they don't get what they want. That's what the problem is. As Jimmy said about power, power is only a problem to the ones who don't what, Jimmy? Have it. As long as they got it, power the best thing in the world.
I mean, you think I'm joking? Think about Republicans and Democrats. Think about Congress. Everything is okay when the Republicans are in control of the Senate, but it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
That's right.
And and I understand that, but then a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people are just waiting for the day for the shift in balance and power to shift, and the president that's in there right now to get out of there, and it gets like it was, and get that opportunity again, because now you see, because they, certain rules, certain policies that purposely were voted out of law or overturned. That's getting into politics is just watch. And that's all I tell people, just pay attention.
But let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something, and that's why the Chop Shop is one of the best shows, that's out there, because no matter what Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, and those guys, they cannot have this conversation, right? They cannot have this conversation because, again, they got to, what they got to do if they want to have this conversation. They got to be like Robert Hatter and go sit in John Lucas's camp, and then have Bryce Griggs' daddy die and say, look, man, you in charge, man. You better not you in charge, but yeah, man, you better look after and he be a high level dude and have to deal with the scrutiny he have to deal with. Or Jimmy Hicks have to deal with the stuff. They got to be in the neighborhood. Stephen A. Smith is on ESPN because he wrote for the Philadelphia Eagles and he was one of the guys that was in the know. So ESPN propped him up. But he can't speak on this. You got to be from this to speak on this, Hatter. This ain't the NFL, bro. Great. But guess what, Hatter? Before they get to the NFL, guess what they got to do? They got to go through this world.
Right.
And half them parents out there are uninformed. And as Jimmy say, when something don't go right, they scared to speak out. So there's a whole lot of chaos and turmoil going on out there, right? And guess whose kids is affecting most? Ours. Hey, man, let me tell you something. I was laughing the other day, Hatter, and you was around. I remember you brought Charles Woodson to our workout. I'll never forget this at Yates. You remember that? When you brought Charles Woodson to the Yates workout. Mm-hmm. There's things that in my mind I remember that I'm like, I remember when people just talk about some kids, Jimmy, that played for the hoops in some of these programs they thought was going to make it and didn't make it. Where they at now? Tell them people to come on the Chop Shop. Tell them to come on the Chop Shop and tell their experience. And tell them how people talk to them. And tell them how people fooled them. And tell them how their kids didn't get their degree. BJ came on and tell you what he thought. Tell some of them people. Some of the people coming up now need to hear them stories, because the same thing still apply, Hatter. I don't care if there's more Instagram accounts and there's more events and the EYBL exists. Man, the EYBL ain't the first of its kind. The Kingwood Classic, EYBL will never be what the Kingwood Classic was. I don't care what nobody say. That thing back then, Jimmy, tell about the Kingwood Classic back then when Oak Hill and all them people used to come in. People don't understand what that was like. So some of this stuff that's going on, it's always been happening. It's just we got social media now. You know what I'm saying? Imagine Michael Jordan if he had social media when Michael Jordan was playing Adam. Oh my God. Oh my God. You think he a god now, Jimmy? Oh my God.
He'd be a god or be in jail one.
He'd be a god or be in jail. He'd be a god. They'd have took out they'd have took out George Washington off Mount Rushmore and put Jordan face up there. I'm telling you right now. That's how much he'd be a god or he'd be in jail. That's what social media has done to these kids, Jimmy.
Wow.
It is done to these parents. They trying to think about it. And guess what, Hatter? I don't blame them. Because Taco, who's the guy that played for the Giants?
For
the Cowboys. Look what he did. He said, man, I ain't got no other recourse but to go to social media. Look what Antonio Brown did. After the Patriots, Jimmy, gave this dude a job when nobody wanted him. The minute they let him go because he is attacking the girl while playing with him, he attacks Bob Kraft. Come on, man. And you wonder why these parents are crazy? Guys, come on, man. Like, what are we doing, Adam? And you wonder why a parent of a 9-year-old kid is crazy when they see Antonio Brown saying, I don't want to play because I don't like the helmet. Y'all tripping, man. Y'all killing me. It's hey, man, we just running on the treadmill right now. That's all we doing, man. We running in place, Jimmy. We running in place, man. That's all we doing. We running in place. This crazy, man.
I'm at a loss for words right now. That's hard.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Them same dudes run their mouth, but the ones profiting off of it. Because again, I'm gonna tell you again, we chop all these dudes up, right? But if we put the phone call, I'm not chopping Mark up or some of these other dudes. But if somebody was taping them phone calls 4 years ago when they was just starting out, or they was trying to find their way, talking to them parents, Adam, you know what I'm saying? What was they telling those parents? What was they telling them? I know Mark. I know. No. Mark is a great trainer. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, he's a trainer. But you know what I told? I'm not going to even attack Mark on this. I just have my own thing for his trainers and stuff. But what did I send it to the Chop Shop thread, Jimmy? When I said what Coach Lynn from the San Diego Chargers said about Melvin Gordon, what he said about skills and drills, he said skills and drills are cool because he's gonna show up Thursday, and they're not gonna play him on Sunday.
Okay.
They got that 2-week exemption thing. He said skills and drills is cool, but you can't simulate real football. Let that be a lesson to all these skills and trainers. Hey, man, skills and drills and touching them cones is great.
I got you.
But you can't simulate them other 9 dudes being out there. You can't simulate that in a drill. So, hey, man, take it for what you want, man. Anyway, Jimmy, let me go and dust hat in these picks real quick.
Yeah, man, let's get these NFL picks, guys. It's that time of day, and I see all the comments on there. As you guys see, I just posted the schedule for the Hoops Giving Classic in case you missed it. Just tune in to the Chop Shop. And once again, I want to compound on something that Chris just mentioned. Guys, if you are in contact with one of the former stars from yesteryear, Chop Shop is a platform. We're here for you. Let us know. Send us an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. Send the email and let us know. Talk to the young fella first. And that's no, because this is a way for those stars of yesteryear to connect with the players of tomorrow. I mean, it's Brandon Johnson. If Brandon Johnson, understand, he's got a book coming out, so he got to make a living. But if he can give his testimony, basketball sent him to jail. Basketball cost him.
He sent himself to jail.
No. He sent himself to jail.
Basketball ain't sent him nowhere.
The sport, if him playing basketball, if not for basketball, he would not have gone to jail. So indirectly, the sport, the lure of basketball. If he don't play it, that's like going to the club. You go to the club, you get in trouble at the club, Yeah, no, the club didn't send your ass to jail or get you killed. You went to
Get
go
in
take
trouble.
the
Because
lure
guess
of
what?
the club.
Guess what? There's some people on his team that it didn't happen to. So that's why I said basketball didn't send him to jail.
No, his fate.
His decisions sent him to jail.
As a result of playing basketball. The same thing.
You can play with the words all you want. I'm just saying
I
basketball.
just said so I just gave you an analogy about the club. So what you say is the same thing.
Okay,
If
come
a
on.
person's going to the club all the time and they're getting their ass in trouble, guess what? Or they go to the strip club all the time and they in the strip club. We got a player from the Houston Rockets, number 13. The strip club got his name in the news. He made his own decision, but if he don't go to the strip club, that don't happen.
No, it could have happened. It could have happened anyway.
No. That don't happen with
What?
Moses Malone Jr. because Moses
That-
Malone Jr. was gonna be in the strip club. So that means you're not gonna cross his line.
He could have told him to meet him. He could have told him to meet him at True Lux.
You
It
would
could
have
have
never.
happened at True Lux.
Hey man, hold up. Y'all giving context for some people
Oh,
that are
yeah,
new
yeah,
that
yeah,
may
yeah,
not
yeah.
know what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
let's
No,
just
no,
say
no,
that.
yeah.
If I'm gonna tell a story, tell the whole story because people won't know what we're talking about.
No. Well, come on. Let's
Yeah,
go
we
to
don't
it.
want.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much.
That's too
Thank
much for the.
you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being.
That's a good Monday. Hey, Jimmy, that's a good Monday though because we can bring that back. But I don't.
No.
Hell don't want to bring it back. We sure can bring that shit back.
I don't
We
mind.
can bring-
I mean, it ain't gonna. It's not that big of a story to me.
What you mean?
Not
Come on,
that big
Hatter.
of a story.
What do you
Come on,
mean
Hatter.
not big of a story to you, Hatter?
Hatter, come on, Hatter.
Listen to me. It's not that big of a story to me. Listen, I repeat, to me.
Boy, you
Hatter,
need to stop. You
it
need
might
to
be a big
stop.
story to y'all, but it ain't no big story to me.
Hatter, I don't even want to listen. I don't want to put it out there because people
Somebody
may not
get
know.
their ass
Let's
whooped
talk
ain't a
about
big
it.
story to me.
But that ain't the point. That's the story. The story is what's happening after that.
Okay.
That's the story. But anyway, we don't
yeah,
need.
let's go.
I don't want to legislate that here on the Chop Shop right now. We don't-
Hey, remember we just said a while ago. That's the if you're the number one, if you're the top, if you're at the, and you're on at the epic, according to your peers, guess what? That comes with it. Everything you do. Hell, LeBron James can eat a taco on a Tuesday. It goes viral.
3 years
That
ago.
comes
though?
with it.
3
Huh?
years ago. Okay. So we bringing up stuff. I mean, 3
Nah,
years ago.
Hatter,
No, Hatter.
Hatter, you
Hatter.
need
It's
to
not.
stop.
It's
You
not
need to
3
stop,
years
Hatter.
ago. Don't say that. I
Hatter,
got
you
stuff
need to
happened
stop.
this year. Stuff happened this summer. Stuff
But it's not
happened
that.
this-
Jimmy. That's not what that's the
happened-
story.
Stuff happened last month. Come on, Hatter, don't do
Listen,
that.
but we don't want to jump on. Hey, we don't want to jump on him. We from the H, man. We need to protect him. We need to put him in witness protection, man. Let's go on. We need to put him in witness protection. We don't want to mess with him because we need him on the Chop Shop one day. We need him on the Chop Shop one day.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
So
Hey,
we gotta-
the Rockets have brought every player they can think of from California to help
I'm
with the
with that.
protection phase. They brought Russell Westbrook. They brought
I'm with
Tyson Chandler.
I'm with it.
Right? So I mean, but that's anyway. Let's get into this football stuff. Y'all studied the lane.
I'm not the land. I'm about to tear his head off.
Let's get this thing. Let me get my highlight out. Game 1 tonight. Philadelphia at Green Bay.
Oh man,
Hold on. Who's gonna take
Who
it
gonna
first?
go first? Chris?
I go first. What's the
Okay,
points?
Philadelphia at Green Bay. Chris, either you Green Bay by 4.5.
They favor, right? 4.5 at home.
Yeah.
I'll take the Green Bay in the points.
You gonna take Green Bay in the points?
Absolutely.
So who they play Philadelphia? So I got Philadelphia plus 4 points, right?
Yeah.
No, 4.5.
Yeah. 4.5. So they
Okay.
need to lose. They need to lose.
Hey, Chris, I don't like you. I don't like to go against my teams that Charles played for. I don't like that, but I'm gonna let you.
I'm a Cowboy fan. I can't cheer for Philadelphia. What's wrong with you? As much as I hate Aaron Rodgers, he didn't put us out of the playoff the last 2 times. I hate the Eagles more.
All right, come on.
All right. Next up, had a Carolina at Houston. Houston is favored by 4.5. That's it. Wow.
Yeah, I want to pick Houston, but I know they will mess the points off. So I already know. I want to pick them. Now I got to pick. How many points they have? How many points? How many
Four-
points I
four-
got to get a team?
Same thing, 4.5.
4.5. I got Houston.
Really?
Yeah.
So, Chris, you have Carolina, who's playing without Cam Newton this weekend.
They
And
playing with
4.5.
Kyle Allen, man. Cam Newton is done. You see, he might have foot surgery. That boy Kyle Allen threw 4 touchdowns. Who they had to choose? I was all for
I
7.
got Houston. I
He
can't
got
bet
Houston.
against
He
Houston.
gave you Carolina and 4.5. Next
And where's
up
the
is
game at?
I'm sorry.
Whoa. Where's the game at?
in Houston.
Ooh, no, how did this go? They're gonna they
Chris,
gonna
you
get out of Kyle
Chris, you
Allen
don't
going
have
back to the crib now. I don't know.
Chris, you
Oh,
don't
no.
have a
I
choice.
don't care if Cal
Hey, at
Allen
the
bring it.
We played at the University of Houston now. We do keep that in mind, Hatter, just so you know. All right, keep going.
Next up, we got Cleveland at Baltimore,
Woo!
right? Baltimore is favored by 7.
Ooh.
What you got,
Oof.
Chris?
Man,
Cleveland at
I just after Baker Mayfield's comments, Rex Ryan's comments, because the Denver, the team that he said got a real coach now when they fired Vance Joseph, that's 0-3, and now he's attacking Baker Mayfield. They say Baker Mayfield plays better. I don't want to go against my man Lamar Jackson, but at the same time, Baker Mayfield is due, Hatter. I'm going
So you got
with
Cleveland.
the Browns. I got Cleveland. It's going to be a close game.
Cleveland got the points, Jimmy.
They got 7 points. No. Cleveland getting 7.
Yeah.
Cleveland got 7.
Yeah. Baltimore
They
favored by
got the
7.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cleveland 7-0 right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad. Thank you, Chris, for giving me Jackson. I love
Next up, we got Kansas City at Detroit. Kansas City at Detroit, and Kansas City is favored by 6.5 points. Detroit is 2-0 with a 1 tie. Kansas City, of course, you guys know is 3-0 on the season.
They got that boy.
Know who I got. I got my homeboy.
Oh no, man, that Detroit defense. Detroit defense.
Jimmy, how many points I got to spot them busters?
6.5.
Okay.
6.5.
Okay.
Great defense versus great offense. I'm comfortable taking the Lions. I'm comfortable taking the Lions at home. I like the coach.
Next up, Chris, your pick, Oakland at the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, listen.
And hold on. Indianapolis is favored by 7.
Ooh, Carr's playing terrible. He got nobody to throw to. I'm still mad at the Oakland Raiders because I think they play a part in the Antonio Brown thing.
Well, give me
John Gruden is overpaid, and I'm all on the Jacoby Brissett because I've said before, I love Andrew Luck, but this boy right here getting his chance, and he might be better than Andrew Luck because if the roles were reversed and it was Jacoby Brissett and Andrew Luck was doing what he's doing, he'd be front page of USA Today right now. I'm taking the Colts and the points. Really? I gotta give a storyline. How do you know I gotta give a storyline to my game? Now.
I love it. Who I got, Jimmy?
You got Oakland in 7.
I'll take Chucky. So I got 7 points. Hold up, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I got 7. Oh my goodness, I love it.
And the Colts are playing. Hey man, Jacoby Brissett, man, he a bad boy.
I like him.
Next up, the LA Chargers at Miami.
Oh Lord.
The LA Chargers at Miami. Guess what this line is? Hatter, you got a hell of a decision to make.
I'm finna make
it. I bet you it's 3 points.
What's up?
The Chargers, remember, the running back just decided to return.
He's not playing, though. Not playing. He's not playing this
game. Guess what? They don't care. Because guess what this line is? 16. The Chargers is giving Miami 16.
Sucker's bet. That's a sucker's bet.
Hatter, what you got?
That's a sucker's bet. I'm going with the Dolphins all day long. That's a sucker's bet.
Well, I'll be a sucker every now and then.
Chargers aren't that great on the road, man. Keep going.
The Washington Redskins, who are 0-3, will be playing at the New York Giants. And their new phenomenon quarterback. They're 1-2 on the season.
And the Mr. Field.
The Giants are favored by 3.
I'm absolutely going for the Giants. I'm sorry. I take that back. I'm going for the Redskins. I want the Redskins. I don't care what the line is because I need the Giants to lose. So I don't even care about winning. I want the Giants to lose. I want to bury the entire league and get the Cowboys as much cushion as possible because Hatter, in the words of Hatter, they're what, Hatter? They're what? Accident waiting to happen. So we need all the cushion in the world. So I don't care what the line is. I got the Giants. I got the Redskins.
How many points? Who got the points, Jim?
Giants by 4.
Chris can have the Giants by 3.
No, Jimmy, I'm going for the Redskins.
I'm sorry, Chris have the Redskins and 3. You were giving up 3 points.
Oh, I got minus. Okay. All right. I'll take
You got the Giants.
All right, next up, your pick, the Tennessee Titans, who are 1-2 on the season, will be visiting the Dirty Birds of Atlanta. Atlanta is 1-2 as well. And the line is Atlanta by 4.
Tennessee and Atlanta. I'm going with Atlanta.
So
Is it at Atlanta?
At Atlanta. Hatter's taking Atlanta and giving you 4 points.
That's a good bet right there. It's going to be a tight game. So
what's that team? Oh, the Titans.
That really should be a pick 'em, but keep going.
All right.
Man, how about this? Chris Walker, your turn. New England at Buffalo.
Good game.
Two
points.
unbeaten teams, both for 3-0.
Hey, Jim.
Mind you, understand something. Buffalo has only given up 47 points all season.
Bruh.
Can I?
Bruh, don't even do what you're doing right now.
Hey, Chris, just like you love the Dallas Cowboys, you know I'm the only dude you know that never been in Tom Brady's box. Up there with Giselle.
What's the point?
The only guy you know.
Jimmy, tell him it's not his turn, Jimmy. Tell him it's not his turn.
Okay.
It's not his turn.
I'm just throwing it out there.
New England by 7. Take it or leave it.
Listen, Josh Allen been on the chop shop, right? We had Josh Allen on the chop shop.
That's right.
I'm taking Buffalo.
Okay.
I'm taking Buffalo. I'm going to give Hatter with their 7 points on the road. I think Buffalo going to be crazy, right? Ralph Wilson, it's not called Ralph Wilson no more, but it's going to be off the chain. I think Buffalo going to play hard, and I think the Patriots going to win by like 3, a field goal. The Patriots in the field goal.
I can't go against Brady. Come on.
Patriots in the field goal.
Okay.
Patriots in the field goal. You ain't going against him, but Patriots in the field goal, though.
I don't want Gazelle mad at me. Come on.
So who you taking?
I got the Bills.
You got Buffalo.
I'm giving the points up. I'm going to let him have the points. He got the Patriots in the points.
Oh, you give me 7 points?
No, the Patriots is giving Buffalo 7 points.
I know. He's talking about you going to let me
have
that. You got 7 points, Chris.
I don't get 7. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I got 7. No, you're right. You're right.
Me and you're not gamblers. We talking to the riverboat gambler over there with that hat on.
I knew, but I was thinking about something else. No, I get 7. You're right. I get 7 at home. I got 7 at home. I'm taking it. I'm undefeated with 7 at home.
I see why it's so easy
Let me get all that gambling while he was on vacation. Come on, Jim.
No, I was the bookie. You remember, I was the bookie now. I told you. I still got stamps from back to 33. I got 33 cent stamps, man. I don't know what to do with them damn stamps. I need some penny stamps or something. I still got stamps from back in the day. Anyway, Seattle at Arizona. And Seattle's giving up 5 points.
I got to go with Seattle.
Really?
I can't go get Sierra.
Okay, I hear you. Oh, boy. This next one is a goodie. You got King Crab Leg.
Oh!
Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 1-2, will be at the Los Angeles Rams.
King Soup.
The Rams are giving up 10 points. Chris, take it away.
Oh, yeah, you got to take the Rams. Are you kidding me? I mean, if Jameis played better, I don't know if they're going to recover from missing that field goal. They should have won that game at home. I just can't see. If it was at Tampa Bay, I feel differently. But I think it's going to be, they're going to blow the freaking socks off those freaking Buccaneers.
In the words of Jimmy Hicks, I'll take them 10 punts.
You can take them punts. You can take them punts.
That's what it is. Speaking of your turn, out of Jacksonville at Denver. Denver is favored by 3.
Jacksonville I don't like none of these folks.
Jalen Ramsey. Man, if you go with Denver.
No,
I'll go with Denver.
Ramsey is gone. He's taking a leave of absence. Which
He
for
just
a
had a
very
baby.
smart read.
After what Rex Ryan said, you going with Denver? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can't believe
Denver
So how-
got Denver. Is Denver
I'm done with
a -3, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Okay.
it. I'll take Jacksonville.
I'm just keeping my notes over here. That's all.
So
Gardner
who you got
Minshew.
now?
Jimmy and Cheeto.
Gardner Minshew. I'm taking that gunslinger with the Jacksonville.
You took Denver, right?
Yeah.
He took Flacco. He took
All
Jim
right,
Flacco.
Chris, you got
Jim Flacco.
Jacksonville. Chris, you got Jacksonville in 3. Next
Yeah.
up, we got 3 games. We got 2 games left. Minnesota
Let's
at
go.
Chicago.
Minnesota, my defense on fantasy, but
Chicago
What's
is
the line?
favored by 2.5.
whose turn is it?
Your turn.
Yo.
Your turn. Chicago and Minnesota, both are 2-1 on the season.
No, where's the game at?
The game is in Chicago, and they're favored by 2.5.
I'll take Chicago.
I hate him.
I'll take Chicago.
Now I got to root against my dude, man.
All right. Guess what? The last game.
Who is it?
The Dallas Cowboys at the
Yes,
New York Giants.
Not New York Giants. New York Jets.
The New
Jets.
York. No, I'm sorry. The Dallas Cowboys at the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh.
Right?
Who that
Hey.
talking about
The
beating?
Cowboys are on the road, favored by 2.5.
Oh man, let me tell you something. Teddy Bridge River. Is it Teddy Bridge River? What's his name? Bridge River?
Jimmy, guess what I'm going to do to him?
What you gonna do?
How about them Cowboys? I'm picking the Cowboys.
No, you ain't. No, you won't do that to Chris. You
They
won't do
gonna
that to
Yes,
Chris
I
Walker.
am.
He
You gonna
helping
give
me.
Chris Walker
They gonna
2.5
beat
points.
they gonna beat
I'm
the
going to
snot out
get
them
2.5
two.
points.
They gonna beat the snot out the Saints. Beat the
Beat
snot
them
out
down.
the
Who that talking about beat? Because guess what, Jimmy? If the Cowboys win, I'm good. And if they get their head tore off, I'm good.
Y'all
So
gotta
it
understand.
don't matter. I
No,
win anyway.
y'all gotta understand something. It's gonna be home field advantage in Mercedes-Benz, the Mercedes-Benz Dome, because Jimmy know half the state of Louisiana are Cowboy fans. So we good either way. We playing a home game.
Jimmy, I want you to win. Dak Prescott. That's it, Jimmy.
Man, that's the Monday Night Football. We'll save that just in case if it's needed.
Man,
We'll break the
I'm gonna whip
glass.
this boy. I'm gonna whip him like he stole something from Mason.
All right,
That's
all right.
tell you, Kevin Freeman said, remember what happened last year? The Saints was favored in Dallas. Let that soak in.
Hey, Fred.
Kevin Freeman, boy, you need to sit down somewhere.
Hey, Chris.
We all know he from Louisiana because he about as yellow as a Twinkie.
No,
He
he
already
from,
know.
Chris, your homeboy
no,
on
he
here.
from Mississippi. Mississippi.
Oh, even
Mississippi,
worse.
bro.
He from Little New Orleans then. That's where he from, Little New Orleans.
Hey, Chris, your homeboy Tyrone Irvin on here. Tyrone on here.
Hey, man, Tyrone, tell Tyrone he need to watch that 150 years of college football. He may actually learn something. And we'll see him.
And I want to remind you guys and share you guys on the fact check, and had the fact check himself. Indeed, Tremont Mark had 42 points against LJ Pryor last
No,
year.
I don't believe until I see the
Ooh,
score
Hatter,
sheet.
come on, Hatter.
Until I see
Here's
the
the-
score sheet.
Here's
Jimmy,
the
that's a
report.
typo.
Come on, Hatter.
Typo.
Adam,
Jimmy,
Come
that's
on,
not the official score sheet.
Adam,
Nope.
the man,
Nope.
the dude.
Nope.
See, here's the thing I'm trying to explain to you. You see the score sheet, then what? We'll give you the score sheet. I have the score sheet for your money. I tell the head coach.
I didn't want to see it. You know what? I remember y'all saying he hit all them points, but I wasn't even worried about
Man,
it.
Hatter, you need to stop, man.
They
You
got
need to stop,
their
Hatter.
head. Hey, they got their head split wide open. Yes, sir. They lost. Jimmy,
They
I
lost
thought you
by
said-
12. Remember now.
by 12.
Remember. Yeah, and
How many?
last year they lost by 12.
It's a lot of points.
No, but you got to understand something. Martin Ranch was the number 1 team in this area last year. They were preseason number 1. They were preseason number 1. If you preseason number 1, you play your first game. You're supposed to win.
With 2 players going to the Big 12.
Yeah, 2 players going to the Big 12, and that's L.J. Crock going to Baylor and Big
Eddie Lamb.
Big Eddie Lampkin going to TCU. But at the time, remember now, going into that season, one of the kids that we thought that Dickinson was going to have got ruled ineligible. We didn't know it when we made the matchup. and that's Marcus Williams, and he's a kid that now he's committed to Northern Colorado, and so this
What's
should be
that,
a
what's that
really,
noise?
huh?
Somebody playing music?
No, I just hit that thing.
No.
Oh, that must be something else here. My bad.
So that's going to be a really, really exciting thing. But guess what, guys? It's that time.
They got a lot of overtime today, boy.
Got a lot of overtime for the day. And guess what? If you're still hanging on, make sure you share the show. And it's time, the end of the week on this Baby Friday. You got your NFL fix. You got your Major League Baseball fix. You got your NBA fix. You got your recruiting fix. And also you got your national, your NCAA football picks. I mean, not picks, but some science on that. Anyway, guys, on behalf of Robert Haller, the hat.
Let's get it.
Well, yes, C. Walker. I see you, C. Walker. Where you at? We got the hater. We got Haller. And of course, it's time for me to flip down my brim, baby, and to the side. I'm going to happy hour. Oh, baby, I'm up out of here.
Chop, chop.
We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep the facts straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do it for